decision. This is a major decision about just jumping in surgery and you're going to just take my insides and just throw them in the trash. So I made a video very similar to the one I'm making now on another platform that I've had. So if you run across that, that was during closer to the time when I struggled with fibroids and actually was struggling at that moment of just recovering from having fibroids. But it has been a conversation recently, and this page is new. So I wanted to update this page because I am still an advocate for against fibroids. So I want, if anyone's struggling with it, as though I had at one point, I want to be an assistant. I want to be a help. I want to be a supporter for any woman who's actually going through it. So possibly my experience may help you through it. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to give any medical advice. I'm not telling you what to do, what not to do, but I'm going to tell you what happened to me. Perhaps, what I went through, you probably are going through, so that you don't feel alone, because I had did some research and I had to find people. And it was rare, really rare for me to find someone who was struggling the way that I was struggling, because my fibroid had become so massive that it was definitely mistaken for me to be really pretty much 9 months pregnant or even beyond twins. Everything that I share is public information. I had went on and written a book. This is not just a book. This is like my legacy life book. This is a mini memoir that I've written for myself after I overcame a lot of situations in my life, good and bad, ups and downs, highs and lows. It's called Surviving. It's a mini memoir, Surviving Los Angeles, a Prison with Benefits. This title right there is so the truth of my life, a prison with benefits. And this is how I felt when I had my fibroid. I felt like I was in prison with benefits living in Los Angeles, and I survived it for 15 years. It's called 15 Years to a Lifetime of Freedom. This is on Amazon. I did not write this book to sell, to be #1 bestseller. I didn't do heavy promotion, but I wanted my book to be a legacy for my generations that will come behind me. Again, I was single, didn't have any children, hence the channel, Living Single with Stephanie Singleton. I don't know how the name just stuck. But I'm going to get into the fibroid, but you're going to hear everything. So if I need to make this video into a part 2, I'm going to do so. But I'm going to tell from when I got the fibroid to when the fibroid was discovered to when it was released, and to me now living a life of freedom outside of prison. Prison wasn't just in my body, but it was just me living in my mind, or living in LA, just feeling alone the whole journey. Even though I dated and was in relationships, I share all of that as well. I was legally single. So how it started was I made a life change. I made a career change. I made a move from one coast to the other, from the East Coast to the West Coast. Life was great. There's no sign of fibroids. I never heard of a fibroid at all. So that wasn't even on my mind. I've always been, just backstory, I've always been just a regular average sized woman, not full, not over skinny, but just an average size, 5'8", 150, 160, give or take there. Sometimes if I overeat, I've seen myself go to 170. And usually that's in my lower portion. So my stomach has always remained somewhat type of flat, even if it was like skinny fat, you know what I mean, where you don't see abs, but you may just, how to achieve the flat look. So it was around in there, sometimes a little bloated. So again, never surprised with a little puff every now and then, but I knew how to, keep it under control. So in 2004, that's how far we're going. It's so sad that I remember it like yesterday. That's when I relocated to the West Coast to living in Los Angeles. Life is great. It was a culture shock for me because the cost of living was a little different. Living style was a little different. I went from living in a colonial home, being a homeowner, to being a efficiency apartment renter with a little stove and kitchenette. So if you're from LA or you live in New York, you know what I'm talking about. And I was paying about $700 at that time. Still, that was cheap for what we were talking about, what that same apartment costs right now. So living in this apartment, I know I needed to make some mindful financial decisions. Again, I started my life over fresh. So I wasn't purchasing a lot of things. So I was taking a lot of sacrifices just so I can maintain. I did not want to be a roommate. As I mentioned, I had a home. That's a very key. That's key to my story. I had a home here in Akron. I am back in Akron, Ohio now. I had a home here. Bought that home at a young age. Was living my best life, doing my best things. Career was on point, but I was not satisfied with where I was at because I wasn't living really. I was making circles. I was doing everything double. I had achieved all of my goals here, and there was one thing that was unfulfilled, and that was myself relocating to Los Angeles or New York, working in the entertainment industry. So that happened in 2004. I relocated, got my apartment. Things is going great. Life is going great. Opportunities came. I'm living my dream. First show I get on. Within 6 months that I'm living there, the world is mine. And so that when you do get a show out there, it's considered like a seasonal show, unless there's some type of, it's just not, everything's not promised. Every day can change, any day can change. So, and then when you have this downtime, you got to still keep the money coming in unless you have something that's really paying you out the pocket, So I had to take on other jobs and other gigs and create other things just to maintain in between seasons of that show that I was on, a very popular show, Wild 'N Out. I'll say Wild 'N Out. I was one of the first hairstylists on Wild 'N Out. And I'm going to share it. I'm going to name drop a lot of that because that's what I did in the book. Going back to this book, I pulled a lot of information, and a lot of my content is going to come from here. So everything I share on here is going to be in here. And there's other topics from my channel that I'll be putting on this channel from this book, because a lot of highs and lows, and definitely can be influential and informative and helpful for another young lady. Back to my fibroid story, because I had to learn about this. It don't just happen. You got to go through it to know that you have it, like anything else. And so we had a down season, and I was just going through, that's when Craigslist was popping. And so I would go on Craigslist looking for side gigs and side jobs to do in between the seasons, because you want to continue, you got to have money continue to come in. So I went to try out for this one particular job, and it was something we're dealing with, side modeling, voice. I don't know. It was some kind of on camera thing, and I'm really a behind the scene person, but I just say, let me just try it. I mean, I like live a lot, just live. What they say, live your best life, and I did. So I went there, and I believe it was like a modeling thing. It was something like casting. It was something for casting. However, the director comes out, or whomever the casting director comes out, and I'm sitting on the sofa, and we went through whatever it was, the casting that was needed to be done. And so we would wait around and find out, his response. So he came back out to the lobby, and he sat down, and I document this in the book. And he said, gave me my compliments, the sandwich technique, sandwich is a soft bread, the meat, the bread. What that means, compliment the core, and a little compliment, like get to the heart, tell you what they want to do. Let me get my fan. I am hot. Having a moment. Part of fibroids, when you get fibroids removed, puts you in a menopausal state, I guess. Oof, feels good. You see I'm melting right on the camera. So anyway, so I'm sitting on the sofa, and we're talking, and he said, everything, great. He said, but we love you. You'll be great. But he said, you're just like a little, you're a little full. You're full around here. I said, full. I said, my mind was like, you call me fat? I always thought in my mind, I have that, what do you call that? When you just think you're big, and I know I'm not big, but I always consider myself big, but you don't tell me I'm big. So I never had someone come out and tell me like, you're a big girl. And I knew I was a little bloated that day, but I didn't, so anyway, because I remember I had on some blue jeans, I had a tinted shirt on the tent, because I knew I was bloated, but I didn't think none of it, because here's the thing, my eating had changed. I wasn't eating like the healthiest food. I was eating ramen noodles. So if you remember, I was making ramen noodles for everything. I turned ramen noodles into chicken salad, ramen noodle this, ramen noodle that. So I figured, the noodles was kicking in. That's why I'm pretty much full and bloated. But he said he did this move, and I was like, what's he doing? So that just stayed in the back of my head. But it's always, so you can stay in an up mood. It's them. It's not me. It's them. So went on about my life, and let time pass. I'm gonna just skip because again, it was days and this life happened. So, but let me just start working out so I can just continue to live my best life. Alternatively, when I'm not working, I might, I don't want to miss any opportunities. And this one was an opportunity that I missed. Maybe a year or so passed, and jumping to the point where there was that aha moment. I was taking a shower, and this video may not be for gentlemen. So if you're watching this for entertainment, there you have it. You'll learn if you're with with your significant other, she's going through anything, you can know what's going on, but technically it may gross you out. So I'm in the shower and doing my little wash. And then so I come across, I begin to wash my stomach. So I'm washing, but as I'm washing, I'm like, oh, it's kind of hard. It is weird. It was just a weird, hard feeling. It was like ding, 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 red flag, but I just, that's right. That's strange. So then when I leaned over to feel, it was like an alien, like a head, like popped out, circle. I said, what's that? And I said, I must have, need to use the restroom. If I could just so say. I was a massage therapist in my past times, and that was something I knew, some techniques. If you feel a little, constipated, or something feels like it's stuck, not moving, you want your digestive system to move, what you do is you put your fist there and you can push clockwise. You can push clockwise around till you get movement. You just massage your stomach in a circular motion, and it'll help immediately move. So I was thinking something was lodged in my stomach. Hint, hint, So I'm pushing over and it's not moving. I'm just pushing hard. It's not moving, but it's still in that locked place. But in my mind, I'm saying maybe, something's gone. I wanted to believe that. But my heart, my mind is going like, ooh, red flag. What is that? And you already know, what we thinking that it could be, because it was hard, it's fast, and it wasn't moving, and it's popping out foreign. So I slept on that for a while where I just couldn't, because again, I'm out here living single, living my best life, supposedly by myself, my family, everybody, nobody's here in LA. People I know from jobs, but nobody not my family, no, I'm alone out here. I'm just like a needle in a haystack out here by myself. And I'm having to make decisions. And this is what we're talking about, living the single life, living alone. Some of the cons that you have no one to consult with, no one to talk to. You're alone with your thoughts. That's scary feeling. So what happened was I decided, I better get this checked. Now, here's the thing. When I made these career change, being an independent entrepreneur, I lost some coverage. And, I didn't have coverage. So it was some time before, I could see what's going on, internally. So it was time regardless. Even though I wasn't covered, I didn't have the coverage, the insurance. I don't care. I got to see what's going on. And I did. So I found a doctor that was nearby, and I was in Burbank. I want to just tell you that because that's key. That's going to be a key story as well. So I lived in Burbank, and so I went to this doctor, and as you see me look away, I'm thinking about the moment. And because this is over now 20 years. That was 2004. Now it's not 2004 now. It's probably 2007, 8, around that time. So, but I have to dig so far deep. And there's a story. And so then I went to the doctor, got the examination, everything. He comes back and he tells me what it is. It's this fibroid. He didn't say fibroid, whatever, another name for it. I don't have it. Look it up. But there's another name that's used for fibroid. Told me what it was. It's like, but I didn't know what the be shocked was, because he's not telling me it's the inevitable scary thing. What is this though? What is fibroid? So it seemed like I'm gonna be okay, because I always ask, is this the end of my life? Every time I go, I'm so paranoid. He said, you'll be okay. So I said, well, okay, give me a second, because what he's doing now, he's like, this is what it is. We got to do something about it. Da, da, da. He was acting so urgent about it. Da, da, da. But he told me this is, I'm okay. Then I'm like, hold tight. Wait a minute. Because now I'm not making this irrational this decision. This is a major decision about just jumping in surgery and you're going to just take my insides and just throw them in the trash. Like he just like cut it out. Let's go. Boom.